It is new car collection day, and there's a funny story behind the car that I've just bought. A car which is a bit of a throwback to some of the OG Shmeemobiles along the lines of my Clio V6, like the OG Clio, and my BMW 1M that we've been doing some work on recently. Believe it or not, about 3 or 4 months ago, I was browsing online late at night and I found an advert for a car from around 10 years prior. Now, I actually sent Brad a message saying, I wonder if this could be tracked down. Well, fast forward a couple of months and the very same car came up on Collecting Cars, the online auction platform, and here we are. I've had some quirky and unusual cars over the years, but my first ever little city car was one of these, a Fiat 500 Abarth. Now, I had a 595C Turismo, always loved that little thing, and I've often contemplated purchasing a throwback car along the lines of the Clio and the 1M. Now, with my newfound obsession for this brand from Maranello, and the fact that these two have actually done a few collaborations over the years, you can possibly tell where this is leading us. While there's been the Tributo Ferrari and plenty of other specials like the Biposto, the one that always stood out to me, I first filmed back in 2010, and that was the 500 Abarth Ferrari Dealer Edition, a special car made only for Ferrari dealers, originally as a courtesy car before they sold them off, and that is exactly what we're going to get one of today. Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the collection day of my Abarth Ferrari. The plan ahead of us for today then, well, we've actually just installed a tow bar on the back of the van because this can actually take a trailer, which we need to go and collect from GT Towing, and the Abarth on the back of it. But of course, to get to this point, somehow I needed to buy this thing. Well, this is a new one for me, from a hotel room on Travels with an auction ending in about 16 minutes for a car that I would quite like to win. Now, I have never bought a car from an auction, full stop, either in person or online. I have bid a couple of times on Collecting Cars, but I have never been successful, and this is a car that has been on my shortlist. At the moment, it's at 11,700. It's just had a bid. There is, of course, a level of fees above that, 42 bids. Quite a few people interested in it. I've got a figure in mind, but let's bring you along through this process. We've got less than 2 minutes left. It's now at 12,000, and I'm going to place my first bid, 12,250, the minimum step up for the moment. Now, I've read through all of the terms and conditions before, so we're going to be good to go. Let's drop it in. Bid confirmed. I am currently the highest bidder. Currently. I got quickly outbid, and then that person got outbid by a third person. We're back down to 20 seconds. Obviously, I don't know if somebody else is going to go in. 15 seconds. With about 10 seconds to go. Bid 10, 9, 8. Oh, I got outbid, 14 and a half. Let's go with 14,750. Place bid and go. Mine again. We just had a bid from another new person. 15,000. 10 seconds to go. Let's go with 15,600. Place bid, agree. Bid. Mine, not mine. We're still going. Now we need a bid of £16,003. We've got less than 10 seconds to go, so let's confirm the bid. Am I the high bidder? Yes, I am. I must have double-clicked something. Right, I am the high bidder again. As you can also probably imagine, with 30 seconds to go, there have been quite a few takes of this happening, because it feels quite repeated, repetitive, that's probably the word I'm looking for. 20 seconds. I should probably not count down again. 15, but I am going to sit here and watch it, because you never know. 10, 9, 8, I'm doing it anyway, just obsessed. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have I won it? Checking, checking, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Does that mean I've won it? Have I won it? Is that done? I think, yes, yes, that was my max. I won it at my max bid. Well, £3 over. I wanted it for 16,000. I have won it for £16,003. Yes! Done! I finally bought a car at auction. Little dance, boogie boogie. Now, what happens next? I have no idea. The last new Shmeemobile that we trailered anywhere was my Porsche 914 that we took all the way from here up to Yorkshire Car Restoration with my dad's Jag. Now, along the way, things got a little bit hairy. We just had literally near disaster. Emergency brake, complete like panic. Mirrors, trailer like this somewhere. So this time around, to make sure we know what's going on and to have some peace of mind, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, because we are going to be installing the 70mm Dashcam A510. This does everything that your normal Dashcam can do and loads more, like the new smart functions. To show you what we've got inside here then, let me open up the packaging. We have the dash cam. It's actually got dual channel recording. You can hardwire in the rear camera as well, but this is what we are going to be hooking up and installing and using today. To install, connect the bracket nice and easily, peel off the film on the back of it, and then it's going to be a simple case of popping this right on here. This might sound strange. I haven't filmed it because it happened so quickly. Getting this installed, connected, wired in, and now with the app, so we can see what the camera sees and give you even more functionality through there. This is a super clean installation, tucked in right there in the center, and thanks to the handy trim tool that's provided, getting the cable routed and tucked away behind the A-pillar trims, also very, very simple and easy to do. That is now installed and ready. Let's hope it's not an eventful journey ahead, but one thing that I always prepare with any new addition to the garage is the plate that's going to go on it, and this is no different. A plate that has a meaning, even though it might not appear at first, and of course a quote. So the F14 is a Ferrari with a 1.4. The engine that's in the new car, and GJG is the throwback to the last 3 letters of my original, exactly like the 1M and the Clio V6. And then we have the quote at the bottom: there's a certain satisfaction in humiliating bigger and more expensive cars with a modest hatchback. Carlo Abarth. This is going to be a very fun addition to the collection, and I think we should probably all hop in here, get this out of the garage, and get on the road to go pick it up. We're about to arrive at GT Towing. Deja vu of when we came here to pick up the 914 that we took on a trailer as well. Obviously not all that long ago, but the guys here are absolute legends. We have a booking for the trailer, so we should be able to swing straight on in and they will pop it round. Unfortunately, the weather today is, as you can see, a little bit of a mess, but that is what it is. Not a whole lot we can do about it. Let's get in here and go get this signed up. Maybe we should look into some new camping solutions for the likes of Goodwood Festival of Speed. That would be one way to do it. And here comes our flatbed for the day. The trailer, obviously you can get different sizes, but exactly what we need for today. I think we've actually had this one before on hire from the team here. So we get this set up, got the spare plate ready to be snapped straight in, do the quick test to make sure everything's working. We've also got a winch in case we should need it, but I think everything's going to be fine. And we've got our new tow ball installed on the back of here, which is obviously set for the purpose. Get this all hooked on and it will be a fun test. So obviously you have to watch total weight, the weight of the trailer, and then the weight of the car that's going to be on the trailer being within the maximum that the van will allow. Simple. All rigged up, ready to go. So let's hit the road now, all the way up towards Lincolnshire for what we are collecting today. Right, here we go. Not into manual. Let's drive in drive, make our way out of here with the trailer behind me for the first time in this vehicle. Oh, luckily I've got an empty gap on the road, but take a wide berth and we'll see how this goes. First time towing with our MSRT Transit Custom, the bright pink team van. This is what it's all about. On the road, got a couple of hours ahead of us, but looking forward to this. We're cruising up the dual carriageways. This part of the road, the A1, has 50s, 60s, 70s, all sorts of things change. But one thing that's pretty cool about the A510 are the ADAS functions, the Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. So if I was about to say, it's heard us approaching the truck ahead, and then if I change lanes, it tells us lane departure. Now, for cars like the car we're about to collect, right, the Abarth, it's from 2009. Back then, you didn't really have ADAS functionality like you do now. So to be able to install something like that, to add features like that to a vehicle is obviously a massive benefit. Before we have a driver swap, we have found some craters in the tarmac here. I have never seen anything like this, but I want to show you some of the smart parking surveillance functionality of the A510 Dashcam. So if the camera should detect some shaking through its G sensor, it will start an automatic 30-second recording. Not only that, but it also has dual channel time-lapse photos that are taken every second when it's in parking mode so that you can see what happened around it. The good news is that we've got some blue sky peeking through here. This is exactly what we want for a new car collection day. A beautiful afternoon, but I want to show you a little bit more of what we've got with this, including some of the 4G connectivity. So for example, as you can see outside, we literally have a real-time live view of exactly what the A510 sees. You know, the car's coming towards us, boom, straight away in there. Not only that, it also has real-time location tracking, so you can prove whether you were actually driving on this road or where exactly you were. It's also got instant app updates, it's got the parking surveillance, plus plenty more features like Find My Car that you can also use based on the connection that this has. From somewhere deep in Lincolnshire, I think it's time to show you the new car. Although when the sun pops out, I've got to say the colour of this, the telemagenta that MSRT did for this, looks insane. The only problem I'm going to add right now is that bright pink and bright red together, not the best mix. You'll see that in a moment, but come on round with me, because back here, lurking under the cover that we're going to ignore for now, that's coming off in a second, is the new car. Now, before I reveal it, if you're not familiar with the Ferrari Dealer's Edition, effectively what this was back in 2009 was a limited run car. They only made 200 in total, and the number of this is actually really awesome. I'll show you that in a second. These were used by individual dealers around the world as their courtesy cars. Basically, if your Ferrari goes in for service, you have a baby Ferrari to drive in its place, which means the colour and the spec is bang on theme. So there were 136 or so of the regular Fiat 500 Ferrari dealers, and then there were 64 of the Abarth versions, of which this is one. So let me come through and reveal this and pull this cover back. This is the new Shmeemobile, my Fiat 500 Abarth Ferrari Dealer's Edition, presented in Rosso Corsa. So yes, the first time that I've ever owned a car in the very distinct Ferrari red paintwork is in fact a Fiat 500 Abarth. We've also got the 430 Scuderia style stripes. It's got the 140 horsepower engine, hence the 1.4 that I mentioned earlier for the number plate that's going to be going on it. This particular car, by the way, come in here, was actually from Dick Lovett Ferrari in Swindon. So anybody who had a courtesy one of these out of Dick Lovett will have actually had this car. Now, because they were courtesy cars, safe to say it got a lot of abuse. There are quite a few things on this that we need to fix up. But before that, a little bit more about the specification. Rosso Corsa paintwork. Come on through though to take a look as well at the interior, where we also have red across the full dashboard. We've got the 5-speed manual gearbox and a clutch pedal. And then also take a look at the seats. In fact, if I just pull this forward, look at this, I love it. The sports seats with this white painted back. These need a bit of restoration and rework to make them look pretty. But the plaque, come in here, come and take a look underneath the gear shifter on the central tunnel area. Yes, you read that correctly. My car is number 200 out of 200. This was the last one. This is literally the very, very final one of these, which I think is really cool. We also down here actually have the door sills where you've got the 500 Ferrari dealers as well, the badging on the side right there. So in terms of specification, basically they took the Abarth. Remember, this is before the 595, before the 695, before all of those special editions, before the Tributo Ferrari. That was, of course, significantly more common than the Ferrari dealers, and a lot of people actually confused them between one another. I thought about buying a Tributo Ferrari, but for me, I love the exclusive limited number and the fact it's number 200. Not only that, we've also got the record exhaust system, which actually sounds really cool as well. We'll get to that in a moment and have a little burble out of it. It's just a fun little thing, and that's what so much of this is about. This is, like I say, I've always been adverse to Rosso Corsa Ferraris. There is one particular Ferrari I would like in Rosso Corsa one day, and it's not the one that you're thinking. I'll tell you that now. It's not an F50, but I now own Rosso Corsa in the collection in the form of my Fiat 500 Abarth Ferrari Dealer's Edition. I particularly like that we've still got that, the 200 badge in the window, but when I talk about things that need some work, the key is a little bit battered. Anyway, let me step in here and we will start this very quickly, because the exhaust system is actually really nice. I remember how my old car sounded, and that was without even having the record Monza exhaust system. Yeah, the little burbles. probably shouldn't do that too much before it's had a full MOT check over and all of that stuff. We've got, well, firstly, we've got some tyre warnings and things blinking at us. It's about 38,000 miles on this, so it's had a good life. Things like new gear shifter, things like the seats need some refurb work, and there are just generally a few little scratches and damaged bits around that I'd like to work on, but we'll get to that. For now, I think we need to get this loaded onto our trailer, ready to tow it back home. Next up is to loop these in, which is all plain sailing, simple like that, and then yeah, just tighten them up. And this will be ready to go home, did gently for now, and then get all four done, and we'll be ready to rock and roll before we know it. That's kind of funny as well, it's still got a tax disc in it. We used to have these physical discs in the windows. We got rid of that in the UK probably, well, I want to say 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago now. But last straps, only you can see what I was saying, bright red and bright pink. Not the finest of combos. Although, I tell you what, using that to tow it back home is a pretty fun way of doing it. Right, let's go. We have checked the straps. Everything is good. We will do another little check just to make sure. But what you're going to see up here in a second, in the rear view camera, rather than mirror, is that we're being tailgated by some Scuderia stripes. Check that out, that's quite fun. And then the view in the mirror, actually, as we go around to the left here, we'll have a very nice bright red little Abarth behind us. Right, so, slow and steady does it. Careful journey back to base from here. It's a beautiful afternoon. Most of it's going to be motorway and not particularly exciting. To get this back onwards, so off we go. Let's do this. The journey is going well so far, and it has turned into a beautiful afternoon, but it's always good to have a quick stop. We're at the services right now, make sure that the straps are all doing what they should. This is all safe and sound. But one more thing as well with the A510 Dashcam is that it also supports dual channel recording. So it's supplied with an additional camera, which you could place inside your rear window. In the case of this, it's a panel van, it's a little bit different, but let's say you have your bright red little hatchback like this. People behave weirdly sometimes, and you want to have that can be installed inside the rear glass, and then it also has 70 miles night owl vision, which means you have incredibly clear, good exposure recording even at night. So even in low light situations, you can read the number plates of cars that are around you as well. It's got to be said, other than the traffic we had on the way up, this journey, certainly going back home, has been very, very easy going. There's not a whole lot of traffic. Super smooth. This is what we like. And it's also got to be said about the MSRT Transit Custom that this thing with its diesel engine is super torquey, and driving while you're towing with the trailer behind like this, it's a lot easier and more gentle than I thought it was going to be. I did a fair bit of towing with the G-Wagon, the G63 of course, when I had that, and I've used a bunch of different cars here and there. I've joined Tony Turbo Transport a few times, but I didn't think that the 180 odd horsepower van would do such a smooth job of it. Obviously within the weight guidelines for this specific vehicle, which depends on the gearbox and the engine configuration, a whole load of other things. But this has gone pretty well. This is very, very nice, and I like the view. I like looking back here and seeing those scud stripes over the Rosso Corsa paintwork of it right behind us. So yeah, not complaining at all, making our way back towards base. Swift progress, already rocking and rolling. Nice one, Brad. Get this unloaded. Successful journey back here with a pink and bright red. Go get round to here. Straps have all done their job. Thanks to GT Towing, of course, for the trailer that has got us through today, exactly as we hoped. Now let's get this inside the barn. It's inside, and I tell you, the first thing that stands out to me is what happens when you put Rosso Corsa next to Rosso Dino. You realize quite how orangey that color is. I think if you just see a picture of the 296, you don't realize how far off that is from the familiar, traditional Ferrari red that you have on this car. It's obviously more in keeping with the stuff over there, the Clio V6, the 1M. It's probably going to live somewhere over there. I haven't worked out exactly what's going to be on which lift, etc., etc. But we are home with it. The car that I bought on Collecting Cars. And I tell you what's super cool. I've just been talking to the team at Collecting Cars. And if you use the link down below and bid and are successful and win a car on Collecting Cars, you can actually save 10% on the buyer's fees as well. More information about that is down below. Big thanks to Collecting Cars. Because like I said, this is the first time I've bought a car at auction. The first time I've bought a car online, completely sight unseen. I've not seen it with my own eyes until picking it up today, until the handover of this thing. Now, I want to touch a little bit on the obvious stuff that needs to be worked on. For sure, paintwork. There are plentiful stone chips around the front. I don't know if we're going to do a respray. The stickers are a little bit awkward. I kind of want it to look nice, a little bit in keeping with the Focus RS, the Heritage Edition, in the sense that I want it to be OEM. I don't want to go crazy off OEM, but clearly we need to do some things. Obvious stuff on the front. I mean, I'm just going to show you here. Wiper arms, for example. Yeah, we need new blades. No big deal. Easy enough to do. I think we're going to need a new windscreen. There's a bit of a chip there, but again, it's a Fiat 500 window. The only thing I'd like to do is save some of the stickers because I think it's kind of cool having the tax disc, and I'd like to get a new sticker for the 200 up there, which I think they all have 200. I don't think it's because it's car 200. Suspension, we're going to look at more when we put it up in the air. We know there's some rust down there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we need to get some new springs and some new components. So that's something we'll see exactly how that goes. There's a big problem at the back, the boot lid, and not that we have a little mess to clean up. This is dead, and it's a common problem. They have a wiring loom just inside the top of the hinge, which goes often on Fiat 500s, so I think it's to do with that, and hopefully not too complicated a fix. And we don't currently have the antenna. We think it's probably inside the car, but I'm not entirely sure where that is. Come to the inside of the car, and this is where, kind of like I mentioned earlier, there's definitely going to be some seat re-trimming. Side bolsters could look a little bit tidier. There are a couple of scuffs and scrapes. I'd also like to make the steering wheel a bit more refreshed. I'd like to do the gear shift knob as well. And then there are just some trim pieces that are slightly battered and bruised. In fact, if I run around to the other side, I want to show you through on the back of the passenger seat. Let me just slide this forward. And you have to be very delicate with these seats, these Seatbelt buckets, because they're actually incredibly valuable seats. But I don't know if you can see there's some scuffing here. That's the kind of thing that I'd like to fix up if we can. So maybe these need a repaint. Shouldn't be too complicated to do. And then this is, of course, completely ignoring the main stuff, which is that it's not been serviced for a long time. We do have some paperwork, but I think it's been a good 5 or 6 years. Cam belt might be a topic, and we need to get it road legal. It needs to have an MOT in the United Kingdom. Because it hasn't had one for about 3 years, you can't just go and drive it on the road. All you can do is drive it to a pre-booked MOT. And I did think today to do that, but the problem is if we had started all the way up north with a 2-hour drive without knowing the car that I was picking up, to get it back, and then there's a problem, just a disaster I didn't want to face. So that's why we hooked up the trailer today to do this instead, to make sure we can get it safely back. I think it looks really cool. It's going to be a lot of fun on countryside lanes. That's what something like this is all about. And it's a baby Ferrari at the Shmuseum. I know it's not a real Ferrari, but hey, these were sold by Ferrari dealers. The only place you could buy it originally was from a Ferrari dealer, and this went through Dick Lovett in Swindon, which is cool. And now it's here. Now it's part of my collection of cars. I also find it kind of fun when you've bought a car, the stuff that you find and you're just going to go through, because obviously this is, I guess, some of the original paperwork, service and warranty, books and papers. I need to go through all of that to see what's in there. 2 things to draw your attention to. Number 1, this clearly did a dyno test back in 2014, October 2014, with DK Engineering, which we might have some more stuff coming with soon, which is kind of cool. So I'll reach out to them and see what the story was there. I also quite like this little kit that it came with. No idea about this before. Just a tire pressure gauge. Technically no big deal, but still kind of fun that it came with that. And some valve caps that are wedged inside there, but we'll sort that out later. There's one more spare one just inside. For now, we will keep this all safe. I don't even know what this little pouch is. The second key, and then the main key, as I mentioned. There are more things with this car that need looking at. There are plenty of other details that I haven't touched on that we need to run over with it. Wheels, tires, etc., etc. We're not going to do a full exhaustive list now because we need to look at it properly to really know what the state of play is with this car and what we are working with. We've brought the van in as well. For the moment, the trailer is outside. We need to come up with a plan for that because there isn't really an easy trailer parking spot here. Maybe it's something for the future. Anyway, we haven't had the crazy driving like we did last time, the kind of stuff I would have loved to have had a dash cam to show you when we took the 914 up to YCR, but there's still the reassurance that comes from it. And I have to say that the ease of installation of the 70mm A510 Dashcam that we have here was super simple. Plugging it in, getting it up and running, connecting via Bluetooth to the app to be able to see the live stream and to use all of the other functionality. For example, the ADAS systems that we saw earlier, the 4G setup to give you live tracking to see where exactly it is, to be able to find your car. Beyond that, the dual channel recording to have a second camera to look backwards, to have everything else that this system offers, and just to know that if something absolutely crazy does happen, you're going to have a video of it. If you get involved in any kind of incident, you're going to know exactly what happened. You're going to have the evidence to protect and defend yourself, really, if it wasn't your fault. And that's the most important thing at the end of the day. So I think we're going to be running that in this, as we do with another 70mm dash cam in the Focus RS, in fact, because that's our go-to daily car. It does actually run one of their cameras, and we do use that in the car. So yeah, mission success when it comes to that. A big thank you to them for sponsoring today's video, and you will find the information down below for a little bit more about the dash camera that we've been using today. Another little thing, by the way, because we just pulled in to fill this up, we've got the nice upgraded fuel cap, or maybe that was standard for the Ferrari Dealer's Edition. I'm not entirely sure, but it was quite funny because we pulled in, obviously, with the van with the trailer behind it, this on the trailer, and simultaneously filled both of them at 2 different pumps. I hope we were allowed to do that, but anyway, we did it. It worked. It's all fine. And I'm still blown away looking at the color of this compared to the color of that. They are completely different colors, these two cars. It's really quite crazy because I guess in my head, Rosso Dino was a little bit closer to Corsa than it actually is, but it's completely orange in comparison. But we've made it. At the end of the day, we are home with the new Shmeemobile, the new addition to the collection. I'd like to say a big thanks to a fair few people, to MSRT, as always, we love the team car that we have here, to GT Towing for their help with all of the booking of the trailers, and sometimes last minute, but always set up perfectly for the purpose, to collecting cars as well. Do check out the upcoming auctions. I'll pop the link down below as well, and you can see what's coming up. And hey, you never know, your next perfect car might be available. And of course, to today's video sponsor, 70My, for the dashcam setups that we use in the Shmeemobiles. Plenty more information about those down below, and you can see the different offerings, including the A510 Dashcam that we've been showing you today. That's it for now, though. Thank you very much to you guys, as always, for all of your support. It is very much appreciated. I hope you like the new choice. A little bit of a curveball out there, a little bit different, but something I've had my eyes on for a while. And who would have believed when I sent that message to Brad a couple of months ago of I wonder if we could track that one down, that so soon thereafter, at, to be honest, I think a pretty good price, it actually has to be said at the end of the day, that it would be right here at the Shmuseum. But here we go, and I can't wait to drive it once everything is signed off and ready to go. That's it for now, though. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers!